Hey YouTube, welcome back to the channel. It's Jamar from Vegas Scents, and in this video I'm going over 13 fragrances that I have in my collection that I definitely recommend for anyone that's looking for a nice, fresh, but inoffensive office scent. All right, so if you're interested in that, do me a favor, go ahead and stick around for the whole video. And also, if you're brand new to the channel, do me a favor, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, and also to anyone watching, leave me a like and a comment. All right, so just to get straight into the video, not waste any time, the first fragrance on this list, and this list is going to consist of niche fragrances. We're going to have clones on this fragrance or on this particular list. We're also going to have designer fragrances on this list. All right, so this is going to be all encompassing. And just to start off the list, I am going to start with a niche fragrance, and this is going to be Bal D'afrique by Byredo. All right, so this fragrance, in my opinion, is definitely a really nice sort of spring and summertime sort of fragrance that you could wear to the office. It does have like a really sort of nice, fresh, fruity sort of scent to it. Slightly musky. It does have moderate longevity. I would say about, a good 6 to 7 hours or so, especially if you're inside. So overall, man, I think this is definitely a really inoffensive fragrance. It doesn't like project super loudly, especially when you're inside. And I think that, this is definitely one that you would definitely get a lot of compliments wearing. All right, so again, that is Bal D'afrique by Byredo. So the next fragrance up, this is going to be a designer fragrance. This is also a nice sort of cheapie that you could purchase. This is going to be F Black by Ferragamo. All right. And with this fragrance, pretty much what I get from this is just a really masculine, fresh, clean sort of lavender mixed with black pepper and coriander. So it does have sort of like a spice to it. This also has apple in the top notes as well, a really sort of sweet green apple. And then the base of this is a really nice sort of tonka bean. And I believe it has, labdanum in the base as well. So, I mean, overall, this does have similarities to La Nuit de l'Homme. It's definitely not as sweet as what La Nuit de l'Homme is, or as sort of, sexy. This is more so kind of like a more serious, professional, mature version of La Nuit de l'Homme, which I think makes it more sort of office friendly. So again, this one is F Black by Ferragamo. All right, so the next fragrance up, this one is going to be from a lesser known fragrance house. I believe this is considered a niche house. This is from the house of Molinard, and this is Molinard's Figue. All right, so Molinard's Figue. This again is another really good choice for like the spring and summertime. You get like a really fresh sort of fig note up top, along with some citruses. I believe it's like lemon and black currant that you get in the top notes of this particular fragrance. And then once it starts to dry down, it does start to turn into a slightly more drier and greener sort of fig. But overall, man, this is a really, really fresh, inoffensive scent that, it doesn't project super loudly either. So this is going to be a more sort of closer to your skin type of scent. But overall, I think this is really a safe choice for the office. Again, this is Molinard's Figue. All right, so the next fragrance up, this is going to be a clone of a Dior Privé fragrance. This is from the house of Paris Corner. This is under their perfumery Privezarah line, and this is Bois Doré. And Bois Doré, this is their take on Bois d'Argent by the Dior Privé line. And even though this is not 100%, the experience that you get from, Bois d'Argent, in my opinion, Bois d'Argent definitely has a much stronger, more complex, higher quality iris in it. But this even though it doesn't, you know, come exactly close to like the Dior, in my opinion, this is still a really solid, you know, sort of indoor office fragrance, in my opinion. It does still smell really amazing. It sits super close to the skin, but it does linger on your skin. It has pretty decent longevity, at least about 7 to 8 hours or so. But during that whole time, you're not really going to get much projection out of it. So this is going to be more of a scent where you can, you know, kind of enjoy it yourself at work. But most people, probably even people sitting right next to you, are not really going to smell it, you know, unless you're doing something like, you know, maybe when you get up from your desk or sit back down, they may catch a whiff of this. But, you know, just kind of sitting there, more than likely, they're not really going to get, you know, any sort of whiff of this particular fragrance. All right. So again, this one is Bois Dores Perfumerie Privezarah, and that's from Paris Corner. All right, so the next one up, this is another designer, and this is definitely, it's a popular designer fragrance. This is Montblanc's Individuel. All right, and so Montblanc Individuel, this is pretty much, it's like a really sort of fresh, fruity, kind of drier sheet, fresh type of scent. You do get, you know, a really nice dose of like raspberry in this particular fragrance. Overall, I mean, I really love the way that this fragrance smells. Like I said, it just smells really fresh, really clean. Does smell pretty masculine in my opinion. And this is just a really nice choice for, you know, just a really sort of inoffensive, simple, you know, sort of dumb reach office scent in my opinion. All right. The longevity on this one is decent. I would say about 7 hours or so. And the projection is not super loud on this one. So again, I would definitely recommend this one. This again is Montblanc's Individuel. So the next fragrance up, this is going to be a little bit on the higher end. So this is going to be from the house of Maison Francis Kurkdjian, and this is MFK's Amorous Ohm. All right, so Amorous Ohm, like I said, this is going to be definitely on your more sort of higher end. So definitely, you know, you're going to pay a little bit more for this one, for this to maybe be like your sort of signature office scent. But I really, really love the way that this one smells. I know that obviously I haven't used too much of this particular fragrance. And I mean, I've had this for, I want to say at least like 2 to 3 years or so, and I've only used about that much of it. But this, in my opinion, is a really, really nice, you know, definitely summer, I would say spring, and then like probably early fall sort of fragrance as well. This has a lot going on in it. It's really fresh, but at the same time, it's sweet. It does have a floral aspect to it. And then, you know, in the base, you do get notes like, I believe, tonka bean and vanilla. So just overall, like I said, there's a lot going on in this fragrance to kind of make it what it is. But the way that this fragrance is blended, it just all comes together perfectly. Also, the performance on this fragrance is definitely better when you wear it in like those sort of warmer months. Definitely when you wear this in cooler months, the performance on this one is pretty trash. So that's why I say it's definitely more so for like spring and summer, and then maybe like, you know, early fall. All right. But overall, man, I love this one. This is a really nice sort of do-it-all sort of scent, in my opinion. I think it's good for the office. It's good to wear casually. You could even wear this one formally, in my opinion. But overall, man, it's a really good choice for the office. Again, this is MFK's Amorous Ohm. All right, so next up, I have another clone, and this is from the house, again, of Paris Corner. This is from their Killer Oud line, and this is Nights of Arabia by Paris Corner. All right, and so this is going to be their take on Byredo's Black Saffron. I did just do a video comparing this to Byredo's Black Saffron. And I prefer the way that this one smells, especially in the opening, where you get a lot more of sort of like that black currant and sweet sort of grapefruit that you have in that particular fragrance. Definitely once the two start to dry down, they do start to become a lot closer to each other in comparison. But in my opinion, this still does sort of hold on to a slightly more sort of sweeter, fruitier type of scent. So in my opinion, it definitely, I prefer this one a little bit more than what I do the Byredo. In terms of performance, this is a solid performer. Get at least about 7 to 7.5 hours or so of longevity out of this particular fragrance, and it's never anything that becomes like super loud or obnoxious. So I think again, that's definitely what makes this one really good for the office. This is also one that I think that you could wear all year round. I don't think that the seasons really matter for this one. I could maybe see how some people would probably only wear this one maybe during like the fall or possibly spring months. But in my opinion, again, this is definitely one that is, you could wear this one all year round. All right. So again, this is Paris Corner's Killer Oud Nights of Arabia. All right, so the next fragrance up, this is from Alexandria Fragrances, and this is their take on YSL's L'Homme, and this is Homme Classique. All right, so once this particular fragrance becomes like fully macerated, and you start to get everything sort of come together the way it should with this fragrance, this really becomes a beautiful fragrance. The ginger in this fragrance really pops out along with the citruses. It does have a nice decent touch of woods in this fragrance as well. So in my opinion, I do prefer this over YSL L'Homme, which is, YSL L'Homme is definitely one of my favorite fragrances of all time. But I do prefer the way that this one comes off. It does come off as being a little bit more louder than what the YSL L'Homme does, but not in a way to where it's obnoxious at all. I do think that this is a fragrance that you could pretty much wear all year round in the office for the most part, but I would definitely recommend it probably more so for like the spring and summer. And in terms of longevity, again, once this gets fully macerated, you're talking about at least 10 plus hours of longevity with this fragrance, especially if you spray a little bit on your clothes. So again, this is definitely one to check out if you love YSL L'Homme. Like I said, you do though have to be a little bit patient with this fragrance because it does take a little while to macerate. I would say the first bottle of this that I bought, it probably took close to a year for it to really get to where it needed to be in terms of smell. And I've had this particular bottle for probably at least about, I don't know, maybe 4 to 5 months or so, and it's still not quite there yet, but it is getting there, I can tell. So if you're willing to be patient with this fragrance, or maybe buy it out of season or something like that, or maybe buy it ahead of time and kind of wait for it to macerate, then this is definitely one that I would recommend. And again, that's Homme Classique by Alexandria Fragrances. All right, so the next one up, this is a clone of Louis Vuitton's Imagination. This is by F.A. Paris Fragrance World, and this is Essence de Blanc. All right, so the more that I'm starting to wear this particular fragrance, the more I'm actually starting to like it and maybe sort of prefer it over the Emperor Perfumes Intimation. This, in my opinion, it is starting to become, even closer as it sort of sits. It is starting to become closer, in my opinion, to the original Louis Vuitton. I don't know, man. It's just, and I've seen this with other people, just with the scent DNA in general, where they've smelled Louis Vuitton's Imagination for, the first time, and maybe the first time they weren't necessarily crazy about it, but they got tons of compliments wearing it. And And, you know, over time, they really just started to enjoy the way that this fragrance smells. And I think, you know, that's the same experience that I'm sort of having with this particular fragrance. This really smells amazing on my skin. It really does. This is definitely one that I would recommend just pretty much for like the summer. Summer, I would say, and then probably late spring for the most part, because this is a really sort of light, fresh type of fragrance. It has, you know, decent sort of projection, but nothing that I think is, you know, too obnoxious or strong. And in my opinion, this is just a really sort of easygoing, light, fresh, aromatic, you know, fragrance, in my opinion. So the performance on this one is also pretty decent as well, at least about 8 hours or so. And this is just a really inoffensive fragrance to wear, I would say, to the office. So again, this one is Essence de Blanc by F.A. Paris Fragrance World. Next fragrance up is another clone. This is from Maison Alhambra. This is their take on Carolina Herrera's Saffron Lazuli, and this is Exclusive Saffron. All right, so Exclusive Saffron, I would say that this is, in my opinion, this would be the scent that you would wear to the office if you're like the supervisor, the manager, you know, someone like that, you know, like the director. Obviously, I mean, anyone can wear this to the office, but I think that the way that this smells, this is really sort of luxurious and, you know, sort of upscale, in my opinion. I do think that this is something that, like I said, again, it would belong on someone like in charge or, you know, an authority figure or something like that. So, I mean, obviously those people, they also work in the office as well. But I definitely, I think that this is probably best suited for someone like that who may be, you know, in a suit all day or something like that, or, you know, who maybe has to dress up a little bit more than what, you know, the regular employees on the floor do or something like that. So I would probably designate that, or this particular fragrance, for that type of person. But, you know, again, this smells really, really nice. It's a really sort of upscale leather scent with like a spicy, leathery saffron. It has just a tad bit of sweetness in it, but this, in my opinion, is completely unisex. So I think, you know, a male or female could wear this with no problem. And again, this is Exclusive Saffron by Maison Alhambra. All right, so the next fragrance up, again, this is going to be another clone. This is also from Maison Alhambra, and this is their take on Tom Ford's Neroli Portofino, and this is Porto Neroli. So this is going to be for the person that, you know, likes to wear florals, pretty much. This is just a really fresh, clean, slightly citrusy, almost sort of spicy, sort of floral scent. Smells, like I said, really sort of fresh and clean. And I mean, I get really, really good performance out of this fragrance, at least about 8 hours or so. You know, the projection on this is not super crazy to where, you know, you're going to be choking people out or anything like that. It's just a really sort of pleasant, floral, like I said, slightly citrusy and spicy sort of scent, but nothing too crazy. So again, this is a really, really nice choice for the office, in my opinion. And this is Porto Neroli by Maison Alhambra. All right, so the next fragrance up, this is a really sort of classic designer scent. It's a really sort of cheap scent, especially now. And this is Burberry's Touch for men. All right. So this has like floral notes in it. It has woody notes. You've got some spices in this. It has a little bit of sweetness from like tonka bean and mandarin orange. There's a lot of different sort of notes in this particular fragrance, but all in all, man, this one just comes off as being just a really sort of easygoing, fresh, you know, really sort of simple scent, in my opinion. I don't really find this one to be, offensive at all. I think, anyone that smells this on you, it's just going to think that you just smell really fresh and clean. And also in terms of the performance with this particular fragrance, performance wise, it's average. I would say you're going to probably get about 6 to 7 hours or so out of this fragrance. A little bit longer if you spray it on clothes. But all in all, man, this is a really solid choice for the office. Really good if you want to maybe use it as your signature scent, because again, it's super cheap. So if you want to refresh yourself with this fragrance throughout the day, you absolutely can, and you're not really going to break the bank, because full 100 ml bottle of this fragrance is probably around $10 to $15 or so. All right, so again, that is Burberry's Touch for Men. All right, and my last fragrance up, this is going to be another designer. This is definitely one of the best designer fragrances, in my opinion, of all time. And it is a pretty popular one as well. This is Acqua di Gio Profumo by Giorgio Armani. All right. So in my opinion, the Acqua di Gio Profumo, this is a fragrance that I think you can wear all year round. So even though it's like this really sort of fresh, aquatic type of scent, it does have some more sort of darker notes like incense and stuff like that, that give it, more of like a darker feel and a little bit more strength. Now, in terms of the projection and stuff like that, at least this version of it, which is the newer sort of reformulated version without the magnetic cap, this is slightly weaker than what the older version was that had the magnetic cap. But it's not a slouch at all. It just doesn't, to my nose, perform or project as loudly as what the previous one did. So I think that makes this one a really perfect office scent. This is a really amazing smelling fragrance. The longevity on this one is still pretty good. I get, at least 8+ hours out of this one. Like I said, it just doesn't project as loudly as what the older formulation did. All right, but I think that, this is definitely one that you'll get tons of compliments with. And it does smell, really sort of, like I said, fresh, clean, aquatic, but it does have like a sort of assertiveness to this particular fragrance as well. All right, which I think that's what you want to go for when it comes to a work scent. You don't want to necessarily wear something that's too playful or too sexy or anything like that. All right. So again, this one is Acqua di Gio Profumo. So let me know, man, what do you all think about the list? Have you all smelled any of these fragrances? Have you smelled all of them? Have you smelled some of them? And what do you think in terms of wearing these fragrances, at least the ones that you smelled, to the office? All right, so let me know in the comments. And again, if you're new to the channel, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel. Also, to anyone watching, do me a favor, leave a like and a comment. And once again, that's Jamar from Vegas Scents. I'll see you on the next video.